Okay.
So hello everyone, this is Bitcoin Design Guide Jam session number 56. Thanks for joining. As usual, we talk about the Bitcoin Design Guide, UI Kit, Icons, Research Kit, all these kind of sister projects, talk about ongoing work, what's coming up, any questions anyone has, anything around those projects, also cool to talk about. And we don't have a huge agenda for today. I shared this Google Doc that's also in my background here now that I shared with the group, and everyone's invited to talk about things. There's actually some old stuff here because I just duplicated this file from the previous one. So maybe I'll just delete those previous ones. I have one point, the multi-wallet management PR discussion. Code resources page, so we have two PRs there. Is there anything else? Daniel has a PR that's about the code resources page. Already put that in here. Wallet Scrutiny case study. Yeah, anything else?
No, nothing from my side.
Since it's a fairly light agenda, we could add at the end, talk about some of the potential future work areas. If we don't get to it, that's fine. But there are a couple of areas that we may want to add going forward that we haven't been able to. So yeah, just a kind of catch-all, I guess.
Yeah. Good one. Daniel, do you want to start with code resources PR?
Sure, yeah. So the best way to look at this might just be to go to the PR, and we had a discussion quite a while ago about linking to the various Bitcoin UI kit packages that exist on Swift and Flutter and React Native, and some of the wallet projects people have been building just to help people out if they're getting started. So this is trying to address that. And I think if you go to the deploy preview, it doesn't link directly to the new page, unfortunately, but you can find it in the Bitcoin Design Guide.
Yeah, I pasted the link in the chat. That's to the
Thank you.
deploy preview to that page.
Yeah, thank you. And then it's under resources, code resources. I kept it very simple. I even didn't include any header image here. Maybe someone is upset about that, and I can address that.
So upset.
Yeah, so it's literally just linking to the 3 different code packages and mentioning 4 different wallets that have been built using these. Yeah, so that's it basically.
Yeah, this stuff is pretty important. I asked Millie recently if she's been using the guide or UIKit recently, and one note that she said, recently she looked for the Bitcoin UX research kit and she could not find it. So discoverability of all these resources is pretty important.
Yeah, she sent me a DM asking me the same question.
Yeah, which, by the way, I think it is in the projects page these days.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Somewhere. Where is it? Didn't
It
we
is
add?
there. I'm pretty sure it's
Am I
there.
not seeing it?
It doesn't show up if I search.
But I added it recently.
You did add it, actually. Let's have a look.
Is it just a preview?
Actually, if you're
It is there.
still in
yeah.
if you're still in the preview, maybe I'm not on the latest
That's it.
branch or something.
Yeah. No, it's a good addition. I like it.
It's that was also a little bit of mine. When I was also personally looking, I was like, where would you find it? The word projects is quite a large umbrella. So, I'm just wondering if people, and it's tricky. I don't know.
Yeah, we need to cross-link too. All the pages where we talk about UX research and their appropriate places link out to things.
Yeah, that's on my to-do.
Yeah. will help.
We have this resources page, which is when you click guide and you click resources.
Mhm.
You know, it would it be an idea to add in a section underneath there called kits or something along these lines, or I don't know.
Yeah. Or
Just
just link
research.
to the projects. There
Okay,
are also a bunch of resources on the projects page. Or yeah.
yeah. I'm just thinking people would likely think of the UX research toolkit as a resource. They wouldn't think of it as a project, although it is a project. It's both. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like at some point we got to reread the whole guide, all pages, and just make sure we cross-link in all the places, because it's so easily, you miss something like that or don't think about it while editing.
It's on my to do. I want to wrap up the
Yeah.
wallet scrutiny case study first and then move on.
Yeah. Do you have any recommendations on, like, for these? Is it helpful if we? I don't know what developers would be looking for with these things. I mean, you have the basic things like which code library or which programming language it uses, which like it uses LDK or BDK. That's important. But is there anything else that they may want to know, or who's behind it, how to contribute, or should all that just be on those
That
respective landing pages?
the way I go about it normally is that you either go to the GitHub page for that particular package, or you go to the package manager page,
Mm.
which is different for each of the languages, and you kind of check there. How recent is it? Has it been dead for 3 years, or who's behind it? Those sort of things. So I'm not sure if there's that much more sort of practical details that are necessary here, given that they're also a little bit slightly different in implementation and stuff. So let's start by this. And I think over time, if they develop and need more, we could consider a richer page here. For example, if the different packages develop together and we can sort of be reasonably sure that they have the same function implementations and whatever, maybe there should be some kind of umbrella page. But so far, they're quite sort of individual and disparate, and there's not that much sort of commitment to keeping them all at the same level. So I think this is the bare minimum start, and then sort of we'll check back in over time to see how we manage to develop them.
Yeah. Should Bitcoin icons also go in there, because that has Vue, React, and regular SVG node modules you can just pull in?
Great. Yeah. No, then they should. I haven't really been keeping an eye on that separate packages. So yeah, that's a good one. I will add that to the.
I can share those links. There's also a
That'd be great.
X post.
Daniel, there's something else that comes to mind. Maybe you've already included it here. I remember about 1 or 2 months back, you created this walkthrough for BDG Wallet in Notion. It was like a user guide or like a tutorial or something along
It's
those
how
lines.
to build the wallet. Yeah, basically.
I don't know if that's
Yeah, that's a good point. I'll check if it's still current, and
yeah.
then maybe add a link to it. Yeah, it's more of a how-to than the actual code, but yeah, it fits under the. Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, so a couple more reviews, and that's probably good to go soon. I left feedback earlier. Hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah.
And there'll be a nice addition. And maybe I'll think of a header image too, because I'm so mad right now. Okay, cool. Next one, the other pull request that I have going on here is the multi-wallet page, which there's a... Do you remember the context of this page?
Yeah, I remember a little bit briefly. Please tell me about the previous call.
So yeah, basically you have multiple wallets that you're managing inside a single application. And there was a lot of questioning around, is this even necessary? Can we do the unifying stuff? How complex or simple or abstract or whatever needs to be? What are the practical use cases? And then let me see. This is October 17th, so that must be, you may not have seen that. So in the end, I came up with a scenario. Maybe you can tell me if this makes any sense. So this is clearly a Western scenario, I guess. So there's a married person with one teenage child, and they've been using Bitcoin for a bunch of time, and they have a personal Lightning wallet for their spending. Then they have a joint account, which might be on-chain, one of two keys. The partner has the other key. Then you have a child account that's application layer only. Then you have a more midterm savings and emergency budget. That's a 2 of 3 assisted custody. Basically, I'm using that because we already have a reference design for it, right? The savings wallet reference design. And the first one is our daily spending wallet design. So I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel with some of these things. I'm just referring to these other things and saying, and then you have long-term savings and inheritance. That's Michael. That's gonna, please, that'll be yours, right? And then we have an archived wallet, which is something Sahil brought up a long time ago, that for Unchained Capital, that they have this wallet archived because there might be needs to move, but you might still receive transactions unexpectedly, so you want to keep those wallets around. So this is ideally, this is a relatable scenario that we could imagine some people be in, that provides a reason for someone to need to manage multiple wallets inside a single application, separating those funds and treating them in separate buckets. Like,
Yes.
hi, Uti. Okay, thanks for muting that. We heard a little bit of sound there. So the point of the page is not to actually lay out all these individual wallets, but just where they would appear in a UI, how to switch between them, how you would treat things like, well, I want to receive, right? How do I pick which wallet I receive to in that UI? It's like, this page is not about describing the import or the setup or all of the settings for all of the stuff. It's just about that multi-application management stuff, like this little selector here on the side, or how to display some of those things, a few different options, or when you send, how to pick which wallet to send from, that type of stuff. So fairly lightweight, actually, I think. But the big discussion that was going on here, where after I proposed this, there were a couple more comments that were pretty intense, but none of them really said like, yes, let's do this, or let's not do this, or this is weird, or this is inappropriate. So I'm just kind of curious to get more feedback, because I would like I said, this is not, the core is not to the scenario. The scenario is a starting point for these UI patterns. And I do think there's a strong point to be made that many people in the world will be in a situation where they have multiple wallets inside one application.
Mm-hmm.
And want to separately manage those.
I haven't personally read through that PR yet, so I can commit to reading through and commenting by the end of this week. Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah.
I do have to restructure the page itself. Like the page itself needs to be, the page itself needs to be updated based on the latest conversation. So I think looking at it in general, like not reviewing all the bits of text and all the designs, but taking a quick look at the page and then the conversation is a better way to go than reviewing the page preview in detail.
Yeah, so I've, especially in the last week, I've been playing around with a ton of these things. You know, for instance, set up different accounts, wallets with green and all. So I think there's definitely a use case for managing different wallets while keeping an overview over them. And the question is, but that's probably for any user to decide whether, for instance, they want to kind of have their more general wallets in one place and completely separate let's say, their inheritance part, or whether they want to even have this kind of storage that should be very, very cold, kind of just in there. So, but even if you separate these two large, I mean, I definitely see the use case for having multiple wallets in one, let's say, coordinator software visible. Because exactly, you might have a 2 or 3 and a single sig next to each other that you access frequently or relatively frequently. Or I set up one for travel that I kind of fund before I go somewhere, but maybe I need access to larger funds that are 2 or 3. So yeah, I think the use case is there.
Yeah, Mr. Gnome brought up a point about someone potentially using this for managing company funds, but that's where I kind of drew the line, because I thought that a company might not want people to also manage their personal funds in the same wallet as the company funds, right? That seems like an inappropriate overlap there of a use case. People might do it, right? But I felt like that was a crossover that's not really ideal for this page.
Yeah, and probably it doesn't really matter whether or these exact scenarios, but
Yep.
the broader question is whether to do it at all, to have kind of wallet management at all.
Yep. Yeah.
And yeah, because the exact instance of what people will do with it, we cannot preview. We just don't know. But I think there is a use case for managing multiple wallets in one app.
I like the fun personalization option there with appearance. That's pretty fun. Very nice.
Yeah, awesome. Something I was thinking about too, because Steve brought up the question about, well, it can't be unify everything. And with Lightning Wallet, we went that direction because it is a primary Lightning wallet. Like, that's the purpose. But you can't just have Lightning with on-chain. There's always a connection, so you kind of need to have that, right? And I was thinking, like, if you have an eCash wallet, then that probably also makes sense. Like, it is just eCash, it's everything eCash, right? You could say we're going to unify this and we're going to make it eCash primary, right? But I think the eCash also requires Lightning, which then will also require on-chain. So I think you always have a bunch of layers. But if a wallet says, like, we are an eCash, we are a Lightning wallet, then I think you have an argument to hide or to unify things. But then if it's a little bit broader, then separating funds for different purposes, where I don't mix my, let's say, family funds with my personal funds or some spending or whatnot. Or let's say I have a partner, but we're not married. We're still keeping things separate or something like that. You have separate buckets you work with. Then I think there's an argument for multiple, not dozens, but multiple separate buckets of fund managed separately with their own privacy settings potentially. Yeah, and the other question was then that Steve also had was, are they all based on the same key? Or does each one have its own key? which is also a good one.
Yeah, sorry, I've been quiet here. I've been reading up on the comments and thinking a bit. And I think this is an interesting one because it definitely falls in the spectrum between like simplify and then on the other hand handle complex situations, and potentially also touches on like security, right? So the question of like, is this one key or many keys? Well, again, it depends. I guess if you're trying to maximize security, maybe it would be different keys. If you're trying to maximize usability, it would probably be derived from one master key, right? So yeah, I'm just talking out loud while I'm thinking. But it's, I mean, if we think about our general financial life, I mean, we definitely have lots of different accounts, right, for different purposes. And with some of them are just a single user, some of them are shared. And so saying it's not happening or that it's not relevant seems to simplify life too much. Maybe the kind of adoption curve of Bitcoin means that most people aren't yet at the place where they have to manage this, right? They, you know, if we're lucky, they have one wallet. You know, some of us probably definitely have more than that, but maybe some of them are more like for testing. You know, we don't actively use all of them, so therefore don't take a whole lot of care to seeing them all at once, or even how well they're secured. But yeah, I could see myself, you know, down the line, if this was to catch on, I would definitely want to segregate use cases and funds. But since the main reason to do that for me personally would probably be to, or at least I would think it had to do with security. So maybe I would feel less. Yeah, actually, I'll take that back. I can see two use cases already. One is that you're using an app and you just want to segregate by account a little bit. We do that already in the bank, right? Even for myself, it's happened in the past that I have one current account where money comes in and goes out frequently, and then I have one or two others, whether they're a savings account or for a specific purpose. But that might be from the same key. But then, you know, if I think bigger outside of my one bank, you know, I have other banks because I have moved countries or whatever. So that ends up often being for security, I guess. So, I can see two different main paths. One being about security, one being about organization and usability.
And also from the research perspective, speaking with people and interviewing at the Bitcoin conference for Bitcoin Core, I don't know if I already mentioned this, but at least every single person I spoke to had more than one wallet. So they always had two Lightning wallets they were playing with and then one on-chain wallet. It's just, you know, people have more than one wallet because they're playing and they're exploring. So it is quite a norm. But I think in terms of like who's using this, you know, I think that these, you know, you wouldn't even call them hardcore Bitcoiners. These are just normal, regular Bitcoiners. They're not even, you know, highly advanced or just normal people, because they're always trying to figure out. So then they'll have a little bit in one wallet, a little bit in another, and then, you know, it's the kind of, this is my feeling of the people that I've spoken with. So
yeah, that's also Bitcoin conference people. So yeah, you gotta be careful with those.
the
Other thing,
yeah, those are hundreds of people still, close to the thousands. You know,
yeah.
it's a lot of people.
Yeah. The other thing to throw in here was that Ale from Bitrefill at the conference, he said like, well, there are all these people who just use USDT on Tron, right? They just want access to the dollar. We have now Taproot Assets coming out with enables stable coins basically on the Lightning Network. So there might be a thing where one of these wallets is potentially a stablecoin wallet for some reason, right? Somehow, because that is clearly a need in the world that might just happen whether we like it or not, in a way that we may like or not. And the other thing that I was thinking about is that I was just looking that up in Zimbabwe, the average annual per capita income is $1,500. So if that's your income and you're on a Lightning wallet, then like paying a channel fee or paying on-chain fees is pretty rough for you already. So like even just having like a Lightning wallet might be the only thing you can really do financially with one big channel or so. So you have to pay the least amount of Lightning fees, and then then maybe you have to go to eCash and move fee-less money inside of that one, right? I mean, there are just very different practical needs around the world that may or may not allow you to do any of this stuff.
That's true. It's also a good point.
It's higher in Nigeria. I actually looked at Wikipedia. I looked at the list. I think the number, it was kind of crazy to see. Zimbabwe was 1,500. US was 93,000 something, and like Liechtenstein or some other Switzerland were amongst the highest. I think Switzerland also has insanely high tax, so I don't know if the people actually get to keep that money. But the differences are fundamental, so fundamental that it will really affect all the things that they do with money.
Switzerland doesn't have that high taxes.
No, it doesn't. It's just everything's expensive there, no?
Yeah, I mean you spend it just in different ways, but not on taxes.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people
keep
actually.
the money, but they get to spend it.
Yeah, no, I heard a lot of people go over the border to France to go grocery shopping.
Oh yeah, and to Germany.
Yeah.
So that's definitely true. I mean, even Czech people nowadays are going to Germany to shop and to Poland.
Really?
Yeah.
Money drives behavior, right?
Yeah. Well, in Switzerland, it's like that you, let's say, healthcare is not part of the taxes. I mean, I think in Germany, also in the Czech Republic, you just never see that money that goes to healthcare. It just is deducted at the source. And in Switzerland, you have to, it's mandatory. Healthcare is mandatory, but you choose which. There's much more competition and transparency in the system.
Yeah, I'll share the Wikipedia link that I read. To look at Nigeria. Nigeria is 2,140 compared to 1,500. So Zimbabwe, what I looked at was done. And I looked at Zimbabwe because Anita Posch wrote a Bitcoin Magazine article where she tested mobile connectivity and Lightning wallets in Zimbabwe. That's specifically why I looked at Zimbabwe. Maybe I can find that article too. He says a lot has changed in 3 months. I'd be interested to hear that. If you want to talk about it here or post in the Discord or so, either way would be cool to hear. If you want to talk about it here, feel free to unmute, and if not, that's also cool. And then we'll just talk about it in Discord. He hopped out, so maybe not.
Yeah, the connection is unstable quite a few times. Also, when we had one-on-one calls, it's a bit shaky.
Yeah. Oh, he's back.
I was can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Yeah. I was going to say, we all know Bitcoin is supposed to be like money reimagined, right? Is this the best we can do for Earth, though? I don't know what you guys think. I've been thinking a lot about it, and I think Bitcoin's like very technical and stuff. Is there anything else we can do about money than Bitcoin? Is there a better way we can reimagine money? I mean, that's one reason. I'm interested in Bitcoin because it's supposed to be like, better money. Is this the best we can do as human beings?
That is a really, 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 really big question. Who wants to tackle it? Or also, what do you feel is not good about money? What can be better? If you have a starting point, I think that would help narrow it a little bit. Kick off the conversation.
Like it's one, it's controlled. Two, it's not like you have to exchange.
Sorry, I think we just lost you.
Yeah, we lost you, Happy.
I see 5 dots on her rectangle here. I don't know what that means though.
Yeah, no sound.
Should I jump in with the UX Research Toolkit until Happy gets back, or?
Yeah.
You're not UX Research Toolkit. Gosh, I was thinking about that. Sorry. Wallet Scrutiny case study.
Okay, sounds good.
My brain was just between different topics. So we have the case study document here, which I just tidied it up based on all of your comments, and I resolved the comments. Michael added in comments a whole bunch, and Christoph as well. Thank you very much for that. So the content has been shaped based on those comments, and now we have this version here. So it starts with how it started, the different sections. Michael was really helpful because you mentioned actually moving in the user groups part into the methodology, which I think was a very good suggestion. So yeah, we kind of have this version right now. I resolved the comments, and then here, I'll just go here to GitHub. So Christoph said the product page, for example, took a really long time because the information was so complex and we had to understand it all first. Expert opinions, how to balance the credibility of the security researchers with public opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys want to talk a bit more about your comments.
Yeah, so my feedback was just to dive a little bit deeper into the specific problems we had. Instead of saying, we rethought the navigation, saying, like exactly what the problem was and why it was so difficult and what the challenge was and how we went about it and the final things that came out of it. For me, it was just a little bit too general, the writing.
So this bit here would be added in. So yeah, I'll just add it in at the top here. The new design is born. It feels like your comments would fit in somewhere here. So trying to figure out how to make this bit, would it refer to this bit here where the new design is born?
I have to write the page or read the page to be able to answer that.
Okay. Okay, all right. So I'll just add this in here. But yeah, I mean, and then Michael also had some comments about the navigation. Can also look at that as well. But yeah, I mean, that's feels like just work on it a little bit more this week, and then end of this week, it's ready for another review. I feel like that's maybe a way to move forward. It doesn't feel like it's really that much to do with this at the moment. I don't know. Yeah.
Adding in visuals.
Yes.
Hugely helpful. Even just like before, after, like that communicates 20,000 words. What has changed?
Yeah.
Before, after homepage, before, after logo, before, after product page. Or even if you have visuals for the target audience or highlight some of the quotes, like the term people saying how reproducibility is such a foreign term.
Gotcha. For after homepage. Okay. All right. Yes. All right. So yeah, anyone is free to jump in on this Google document. I will focus on adding in visuals this week then.
Did you want more feedback on the Google Doc right now, or towards the end of the week when you've made the changes that you wanted to make?
I feel like feedback would be useful at the end of the week. I'll add in some images, and then there can be joint feedback on images and copy. Feels like there's been a fair bit of feedback on the copy so far, so maybe when the images are added in, there's more to review as well. Yeah. With regards to the images, just a question, because you have to think about mobile. Is there a particular way to place the home pages next to each other before and after, or maybe share a link to an example of how that could be done, or just so I can have a bit of an idea?
Let me see if I can find an example here. See how here in upscale on the background, there's like I have this slider here.
Yeah.
Even imagine it's not a slider, but there's just an image with a line in the middle, and the left half is the before, the right half is the after.
Yeah.
That's sometimes fun to do. Like you can't really tell everything that's going on the page, but it just puts, and it's of course it's much better if the before and after are structurally the same. But I don't know, that might be something that could work here for maybe at the top, or just one of those, the initial comparison between the two.
Yep. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's it from the Wallet Scrutiny case study. Add in some images, one more review, and then let's see what the next step is. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for the update. So Happy is back. Let's continue that conversation.
Yeah, I was just saying, because it's a bit technical, and if we want something the whole world can use as new money or better money, I think that we can do a whole lot more than Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's going to serve a purpose for now, definitely, till we get there. But I'm like, we all have because even Jerome Powell says it, the Fed chairman, he goes, the financial path we're on now is not sustainable. So everyone's thinking about a new way of money, and I know Bitcoin's going to be there till then, but we can do a whole lot better than Bitcoin, I'm thinking. I mean, I don't know what you guys think. I just want to hear your opinions, and, we can take it from there.
What is better? That would be my question. Like, where does it fail? Like, what are the problems that it does not address that could be filled by something else?
One, I think it's not physical. It's electronical. It's, so what if you're somewhere, you need something physical, if something happens? I think that's one of the biggest problems I see with Bitcoin. It's electronical. I think, yeah. I think you need something you can take with you. You don't have to rely on, someone else trying to transmit the money to you. Yeah.
Yeah, that is one of the wonderful things about cash. It's physical. You can drop it. You can put it in your pocket. You can just give it to someone. That is one of the nice things that, of course, a digital currency does not natively or naturally have. The only thing we have there are the recovery phrases, right? Where you can have a piece of paper that's basically your whole wallet, and it never needs to be online, and it can still receive. You cannot send, but you can still receive to that wallet that is not in a digital form. So yeah, that is one of the drawbacks, right? And that's why gold is like such an interesting counterpart, because it is physical only, and no one can really mess with it, right? It's people mine more, right? And mining happens at a certain pace every year, but yeah, that's maybe the opposite extreme. There are some products, I think, that basically try to make it physical. What is this one? I think the Cold Card crew, don't they have one product where it's like a little thing, Sats card, where you can put a certain amount on there, and it's almost like you can give open dime, I think. You can give that to other people. I think there are efforts around that. Has anyone used those? Do those account for any of that lack of physicality?
Well, I got an open dime, like 6 years ago or 5, with I think about $50 on it. But still, you have to interface with a digital thing, software, to see how much is on it still, and to send it. So I'm not sure. I saw somewhere something like a card that has a display with how many funds are on it, but I'm not sure. It was a long time ago. Would have to research for it.
Yeah. Does that help?
Oh, I don't. Yeah. I mean, Bitcoin is good. It's just, but I think we can do better. That's just what I'm thinking. I mean, if we have something like cash, money, we could like stick to our skin or something. I'm just thinking, it's gonna come to a point where we need to use Bitcoin, and it's gonna be hard because of how technical it is and not easily movable. I don't know. Maybe I'm not being very coherent, but yeah, we should just go on. Maybe next time I had more ideas we could share concerning that.
Yeah, I mean,
why do you think it's not movable? I mean, you can move it from phone to phone. But it's digital.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. That's I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, maybe next time I'll be more coherent. I'll get I'll be more prepared for this. But I just wanted to throw this idea out there right now to see what anybody else was thinking concerning this.
Yeah. There's also this border wallet, which is meant to allow you to easily memorize your wallet, so you can take it across borders without anyone, knowing or having anything physical with you. But one interesting question is can any money be the best? Like, is it better at things that matter that other monies are worse at, right? Like a complement. I don't think there can ever be. It's just like you have different kitchen tools, right? You can't have one kitchen tool that you can cook a steak, and you can bake something, and you can make your dough or whatnot. It's like there are different things that optimize for and maybe we need like 3 different digital monies or different types of monies that are optimized for different purposes. And it might even be good if there's not just one that is the best, but they kind of counter each other, right? It's almost like in a democracy, you want to have different parties that kind of keep each other in check, right? You don't want to have one that's too strong.
I like that idea. Yeah, it's cool. Okay.
Good conversation. I love it. Love it.
Thanks, Happy, for your thoughts.
That's a great idea. Like 3 different kinds of money. That's really cool. Yeah, maybe next time we talk about this, I'd be more ready. But that's a really great idea. I never thought about it that way. You could like have 3 different kinds of. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. Yeah, there are lots of different kinds of money, and Bitcoin is one of them. And here at the Bitcoin design community, we're trying to make that particular kind of money better.
Better, not the best.
Yeah, there might be others, but we like Bitcoin, and we're trying to make that easier to use.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, thanks for chipping that in. We can also discuss in Discord, like some of these deep questions. It's good when you can sometimes just take your time and think about it for a little bit. But either way works. Calls online, it's all good. Yeah. Okay, we have another 5 minutes here for this call. Was there anything on our list that we didn't get to that we should hop in? Go to respond. Oh, Daniel, you wanted to mention future work areas.
Yeah, but actually before if we have time for that, I was curious, Michael, if you had any thoughts or updates on your work. I haven't been following super closely, like just a quick one. What are you up to?
Yeah, so I basically bought I did a ton of personal research, bought a ton of existing hardware wallets like Jade, Passport, Cold Cards I had. And I was playing around with many different, or a couple of different software wallets to kind of try to set up multi-sig setups. So kind of going through the pain of to find out that it's really, let's say, difficult to do easily. And yeah, so I have kind of now, I think, a good, and then I learned about BIP85. So I went a bit down that rabbit hole. And now and I had a call last week with the guys from BitKey to see what they're up to. And yeah, now I'm until the end of the year, I kind of want to synthesize these kinds of learnings. What was really challenging is, I think, is that there are not so many of these coordinator softwares. I mean, you have Nunchuck, you have Spectre, you have Sparrow, and that's about it. I didn't try Bitcoin Keeper yet, really. But then, let's say you kind of get to do this, then you run into the challenge. Okay, which hardware devices can you use with any of these specific solutions? So if it should be mobile, for instance, if it should be a mobile solution on mobile phones, then that rules out already a couple of devices, right? So you couldn't use Trezor, for instance, because they don't have any NFC or Bluetooth or air gap functionality yet. But yeah, so I was trying a lot of different stuff, especially in the last two weeks.
Cool.
And now I'm kind of I have the feeling that I can start, working on really probably writing down kind of, maybe on my personal Substack or something, write down kind of the experience there, and on the other hand, try to see, okay, how could we simplify the setup of these kind of solutions, and then the maintenance, because that's going to be, ideally, a solution is in place for like decades. So
Yeah.
it somehow has to be manageable. So that's kind of the next step. The goal would be until the end of the year to have some kind of reference that also takes into account that for multisig, you have to import all of the wallet to the devices, and doing these kinds of things. I think it's a massive hurdle. I mean, it's the person who sets it up might be able to do it, but then you have to really teach the other people.
Yeah, no, I think it's super useful that you do this, and I would love to learn by what you have learned. And I think, like you, I see maybe three different outputs. One, like you say, just a personal record of what happened, and maybe the second one would be like a simple one-pager in the guide, which is not about how you build products to solve this problem. It's maybe just like how you, as an individual or with a family, can tackle this in practice today, right? And maybe that involves, like you say, like, well, today inheritance is best handled by X, Y, and Z, depending on maybe the levels of funds we're talking about. There is one page in the guide which is maybe trying to do something similar. It's the Bitcoin backups. Not the one that appears throughout the guide, which I think is called manual backups, but I'll post a link in here in the chat, which is basically, just trying to practically walk through someone, like, what are my options today? without going nuts. Maybe that's a kind of a second output, and the third output would be maybe much later when you be a guy as something in the guide about how to build products for this use case. What needs to be simpler, what needs to be solved.
The reference design.
Exactly. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to read about this.
Yeah, and also the miniscript experience was a good one before Amsterdam. So that was kind of a steep learning curve, but it was very interesting. So it's I hope to.
getting it
Or
all in your head.
I'm feeling that now I have kind of some mental traction that I feel better equipped to actually start, producing things or output.
Yeah,
That
even
sounds like the normal process of a grantee, Michael.
the brain
Yeah, you should.
marination.
Yeah, that's a good word. Brain marination is makes me hungry.
The brain marination period is slowly coming to an end.
But it's also good, like you are becoming an expert on this to the benefit of all of us. And that's what the guide is for. Someone really gets into the weeds and learn all the issues and problems and what works and what doesn't work, and then we share that, and then we don't all have to do the same thing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. And should we still hop into the future work strands discussion?
I mean, it's not necessary if we run out of time. I think we all know that there is a bunch of subjects that we would like to tackle, but at the same time, we all have quite a lot on our plates at the moment. But yes, you mentioned some already on the call, Christoph, like eCash and Pediment and in that direction. But yeah, so I don't think we need to go into it. It's just kind of just acknowledging the fact that there are more subjects out there that we would like to start having something about in the guide.
Yeah, Bolt 12, silent payments or static payments codes, basically. The stablecoin stuff, Steven started a fiat over Lightning PR or issue. He did a bunch of writing there that seems like it could also be wrapped up. Lots of stuff. Like after the multi-wallet account page thing, I would love to... I want to dig back through some of the stuff we have. And whoop. Well, it seems like I get kicked out, so I'm going to stop the recording here. Thanks for tuning in. Everyone else is gone. Maybe I can rejoin them, but I'm going to stop here. So thanks.